Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Oliver. I am the CEO and founder of EliteDynamicLife.com. We are a health and fitness company. We specialize in holistic health and fitness and life coaching to help people achieve extraordinary results in the area of their body, their mind, and their spirit, which assists people to become healthy emotionally, which assists people to have better relationships, which assists people to make more money. Because when you become better, every area of your life improves. And today, I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, and a client, and she also works for me. This is Kristin. She has an epic testimonial that I really want the whole world to hear because Kristin's life has become proof that no matter what you've been through, it doesn't matter how bad and how tough it was or what you're going through, you can transform your life if you give yourself the opportunity and you learn the things you need to know, you can transform your life. So thanks for being here today, Kristin. How are you doing?
I am wonderful, truly wonderful. I'm still just in disbelief of everything that has come into my life and what I've accomplished this past 3.5 years working on my health. Because living through what I did, like most people, we all have our stories, just living with trauma, you get to a point where you can't see anything better for yourself. You tell yourself that you're too far gone to be better, to accomplish anything more, and you're just going to have to live with the life that was created. And I'm living proof that you don't have to live that way. I was a mess, Ron, as you know, being my coach. I was
Yes.
an absolute mess, a product of my environment. I don't blame anybody because they were just products of their environment. But I mean, we have hurt people leading hurt people in a very messed up and a very sick world because of that. It's dark, it's sad.
Yes. Why don't you tell people some of the really tragic things you've been through so they can understand? And especially for those out there, there is countless millions of people that have been through similar things as you, and they're trapped in anguish, oppression, depression, addiction, and they're just stuck because they have no hope for a better future. They don't know what to do. And as you said, they just believe this is just the way their life is going to be. There's no way out.
Yes, absolutely. So my story kind of starts, my trauma starts when I was a little girl. I was sexually abused as a child, and that led to all sorts of mental stuff on top of being heavily bullied. My parents, they fought a lot, and that caused a lot of trauma hearing that. It scared me so bad to the point where I developed a stuttering problem. I stuttered so bad it would literally take me 2, 3, 4 minutes just to get a sentence out, and that caused a lot of bullying in school. I had zero confidence growing up to the point where when I finally grew into myself at the age of like 12, 13, 14, I started to get noticed by boys, and that was the only attention that I got. So, being a young girl who's just been constantly let down and bullied, that was intriguing to me. So, I was seeking attention in the wrong places, and that led to a lot of hardships. I ended up started to drink alcohol at the age of 12 and then moving into hard drugs by the age of 14. Hard drugs as in ecstasy, MDMA, acid, cocaine. And that led to a ton of trauma. I ended up losing my virginity at a very young age. And that was so, so shameful to me. And moving forward, my entire way up, I was just used and abused by the people around me. I was so shameful of using drugs, but I only ever started using drugs and drinking alcohol to mask the trauma that I never dealt with growing up because my parents never dealt with their trauma. They never knew actually how to properly parent me to release that. And then by the time I hit also 14, I was in the fashion industry. And that is an intense industry to be in. You are judged on your appearance. You are told to be a certain size. Could you imagine being 15, 16 years old, being like, you cannot gain weight. You have to look like this. If you want to be on the runway, you do not get any bigger than this. Oh, they don't like this about you. We got to change this. So, as you could imagine, I became extremely egotistical. And that led into an eating disorder. I was bulimic, anorexic. I just had to be the certain way. And I was an object. And I treated myself as an object because of everything else that I previously experienced. And then what the fashion industry made me believe that I was. Going into that, I graduated, but I started working in the bars. That opened up a whole new world where I met a whole range of people, a ton of drug dealers, and it didn't matter where I went in the world. I did a lot of traveling and I just met the worst people. They were all drug dealers, and I just started getting really deep into drugs. I became a full blown coke addict for 5 years. I was doing cocaine 3 to 6 times a week, 2 to 3 grams a night. I was drinking a 2 6 of alcohol every night or 2 to 3 bottles of wine. And that led to really poor relationships. I was emotionally and physically abused in these relationships and just zero self worth. I was so lost. I was so disgusted with myself and so shameful that I was not living. I was just surviving. And then from living such a hard lifestyle, every chance that I was sober, I was actually just stoned. I could not be sober for a second. I hated myself too much. I hated what I did. I hated what was done to me. And I ended up smoking like a quarter weed a day for practically 8 years, 24/7 stone.
Wow.
Yes. So I spent a decade of my life numb. And every time I tried to get sober, I was unable to because I didn't know how to be. And the root cause trauma was never dealt with. I ended up having a couple of children with men I thought that I loved, but again, never truly knew what love was. And I ended up being a single parent to these two little girls. And that's hard. Doing that on your own, being in this world, trying to deal with all your mental and your physical stuff. So through all this experience, I ended up developing 8 different diseases, and that was hard. I had an autoimmune disorder. I was sick 2, 3 times every single month. I had severe depression to the point where I could not function. I could never get ahead. It was a revolving door of, okay, I'm in bed for 2 weeks. I feel like crap. I wanted to crawl out of my skin with anxiety, just hating myself for being in that situation. And then finally feeling good enough to get out of bed and get moving and feeling good for a week, building that momentum, and then just getting struck again. I could never move forward because it was just repeat, repeat. I ended up developing a ton of gut issues, really bad, and your gut affects your brain. I had arthritis through my entire body. I was so sore all the time. I had insomnia. I could not sleep, major anger issues. I had so much built up emotion to the point where I thought I was bipolar. Like I was all over the map. I had no idea who I was. And I thought that this is it. This is my life. I cannot move forward. I'm too far gone. I messed up my brain. I'm never going to be able to recover. I had too much shame to move forward. This is who I am. Until I met you and your team 3.5 years ago. And what a journey this has been. I still cannot believe it. So I started working with you and your team, and within 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours, I knew that my life was about to change for the first time in my life. And I got help for the last probably 5 years trying to overcome everything that I did. I went and saw doctors, I went and saw therapists, I read the books, watched all the YouTube things, but nothing stuck. Nothing. I would feel good, but then it always just drop back. And what I noticed about the program that you got me on is I started feeling so amazing within the first 24 to 48 hours. So much energy. That was the first thing. When we have energy, we make better choices. And then brain clarity. I could think, I could be more present. It's like this film was just peeled off of my eyes and things got vibrant again. Within a week, I started sleeping through the night. And anybody who hasn't slept and you don't sleep well, you know how much that affects your everyday. So that was huge. And then the pain in my body started going away. Just so much clarity and excitement. And then by the third month, every single one of my health issues went away. Everything. I stopped getting
That's
sick.
awesome.
I know. It is awesome. Very freeing. So by then, 3 months, that's not a long time after suffering for decades. My body was feeling so good that we were able to go in to my trauma, into this, and start learning how to release everything. And that was a huge breakthrough for me. For the first time in my life, in my late 20s, I started to live. I saw the light. I was sober every day. All of my addictions went away. I didn't want to mask anymore. The things, the drinking, the weed, it didn't uplift me. It lowered my frequency. It no longer felt good. And that was incredible. And then after going through that, I I was free. And then I found my purpose, found who I actually was. And through that, we're here today. I chose me. I never stopped fighting for me. And because of me fighting for me, my children now have a better life. They are happier. They have a more present mom. I am happier. I wake up so excited every single day. I don't have pain in my body. My brain works. I'm excited to be sober. And I want to help people do the same because not many people have that faith that this can be your life. And I'm living proof.
That is a wonderful story. So
It
how
is.
has your life changed with your relationship with your kids, being a mother? How has your life changed regarding employment? What's going on in that area?
Well, absolutely everything has changed. So my children, first off, we'll start with them. I was the mom where I needed to be stoned for everything. Playing with them, stone, doing crafts, stone, going on a walk, stone. And now that I am completely sober, they have my full attention. I am more present with them, so they're more present. They're happier. I don't have these roller coaster of emotion dips. I am sustained. I'm so level, and that has caused a very good environment and stable environment for the girls. I have way more energy, so I'm doing more things with them. I'm waking up early. I'm not sleeping till 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock and missing our lives together. And our children are a reflection of us. That's what I've really seen. You want to know what you're doing wrong as a parent, look at your child's attitude and actions.
Absolutely.
And it's wild. And me working on myself and becoming happier and healthier, they are happier and healthier. They make better decisions. When we go to birthday parties, they're not running for the chips and the chocolate and the cake. Freya, my youngest, she thinks that's going to make her throw up and make her sick. So they're going for the veggies, they're going for the water, and they're making better choices, and their minds are so stable. They are so healthy that when I bring them out, like parents are noticing. They're like, your kids are so well behaved, your kids are so polite, your kids, like they eat healthy, you can tell, like they crave that. And then they're being good little examples for all the little children around them just because I started to fight for myself. That's
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
Yes. And then my whole job situation. So my entire life, I started working when I was 12, bussing tables in restaurants and going into the bar industry. And then later on, I was working at an elementary school. That's when I was really trying just to fight for myself and get out of my pit of hell that I was in. And you get paid peanuts. I mean, I love kids. I love being there. It was good, but the pay was not good. The environment was not good. And just by me taking care of my health and choosing me, I was able to find an entire new career and something that I've dedicated my entire life to. My job is to get healthy. Just by me getting healthy, people were like, hey, what are you doing? You look so good. You're so happy. You're such a light. And I just started to become a magnet for people. And by that, I'm just like, listen, I have these health coaches. They're amazing. This is what they've done for me. I'm living, I'm happy. And I started bringing them to you guys, and I started to get paid. It just happened like that. And within 8 or 9 months, I was able to quit my job. I'm doing this full time. I'm just telling my story. That's all I'm doing. I'm giving people hope. This is what I've done. If you can relate to me or you want a better life, come check out what we're doing. You guys are closing my sales. You guys are bringing on them as clients, and I'm getting checks in the mail. I've
Yes,
recently stepped it up a notch. So I wanted to become fully into the company. I am so excited about what you guys are doing as a company, this huge mission you're doing worldwide on properly educating people on health and showing people how to achieve longevity within their life. And from what you did to me and how many sick, broke, depressed, lost people there are in the world, I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I recently just moved across Canada. I'm originally from Alberta. I was in Manitoba for a bit, but now I'm all the way in Quebec. And I am working full time for this company. I will be a coach for your company soon. I'm doing lots of training, certified in
absolutely.
lifestyle. It's so exciting. Certified in lifestyle morphology, being able to analyze people's blood. Like, I went from a complete drug addict, a loser, a depressed case, a woman with no confidence, no direction in life, feeling completely worthless, ready to die, to a woman who was completely free, waking up happy, a really good mom, completely raising my children on my own, 100% financially on my own, helping people, certified in lifestyle morphology, and helping people achieve what I have. Like that, it's
That's
incredible.
awesome.
It is awesome. It is. And that's where we've been at. It's been 3 years now, 3.5 years, and everything has changed.
How has life changed for you since we started working together one-on-one, like in person, as opposed to over the phone and over Zooms?
I spent the first 3 years working with you over Zoom, and that was awesome. I learned a lot, but I've spent the last 5 months here in person working with you one on one, and I have grown more now in these 5 months than I have in these 3 years. It is so different working face to face with somebody, seeing how you run a business, seeing how your life is revolved around health and everything so pure, and your dedication and your work ethic with everything that you do. I have learned so much watching you. I can't believe how many lives you have changed. Just this past week, there's been 4 or 5 different people that have come into your office, and they came in just no life in their eyes. And I saw that because I used to be like that, just emotional, not excited for life, completely lost. And within an hour spent with you, it's like this little shimmer of hope comes in their eyes and they get excited. And then you get them on a protocol, and within 24 to 48 hours, they're calling you, they're happy, they're laughing, they're excited, and they are well on their health journey. And I just can't help but be so grateful because I was there. That was me 3 years ago. And for me to be where I am at now, and then seeing them starting now and where they're going to be at in 3 years, it's this world is going just to be so blessed with all these healthy, strong, free people. It's incredible.
It is incredible, the true potential of human beings. I know myself personally, I had a tremendous amount of trauma, abuse as a child. I was very broken, bitter, angry, depressed, truly a hot mess. I got addicted to marijuana after getting hit by a drunk driver at 21 years old. I started smoking weed because one of my buddies finally convinced me to smoke some weed with him because he told me it would help me sleep. I'd gone like a week without any sleep because of the pain. And I was like crawling slowly across the room to go to the bathroom. So I couldn't even stand up. I was so hurt. I went from being a super fit athlete to being, wrecked from this car hitting me, This car hit me at like 70 kilometers an hour, T-boned me in an intersection downtown Vancouver. So I was wrecked and I couldn't sleep. So, in that time of weakness, and I was so desperate, I didn't want to take pharmaceutical drugs. I don't believe in that, So I smoked some weed with them and it actually relaxed me, helped me sleep, simmered down the pain, more bearable. And then I found myself, once the pain was gone, then I continued to smoke it to numb my emotional trauma and my mental issues with being at peace and being happy and just being upset and frustrated and depressed and angry because of my childhood. So then I smoked it for like 20 years. And I was heavily smoking weed. That's how I coped with my pain and stuffed it down and stayed calm instead of pissed off all the time because of my trauma, And didn't want to do it, but it was the only thing I knew. I didn't have any other route, I wasn't going to take, meds from the doctors for depression or anything like that. So this is the less of the evils as far as I knew. For about 10 years, I smoked it in joint form and it was all organic and everything. And I had myself convinced that this is natural. This is just medicine. It's perfectly fine. And then I started, obviously putting smoke in your body is definitely not good for anybody, and if it was, we'd be smoking oregano or something else, right? And then I started vaporizing it with this medical technology that, eliminated a bunch of the toxins. So there was no smoke. Now it was just the THC in a vapor. And I thought I was really smart because I'm now vaporizing it and, it's less toxic, but I'm still not dealing with my issues. I'm not dealing with my core issues, my childhood trauma, my suffering. So, I finally decided I got to quit this altogether because this is just a crutch. I don't want to put a band-aid on this anymore. I got to deal with my problems. I was already super fit and healthy because of my childhood and my career choice. But inside, I was a toxic mess, and I still had hung on to all my childhood trauma, all the abuse, all the violence, all the, times I was beaten. I had a couple hundred concussions by the time I was 18 years old. And for some people, that would destroy them or break them or make them very timid or afraid person. It didn't do that to me. It made me tough, made me strong, and it made me very angry and extremely aggressive. And I didn't want to be that way. I used to scare myself because of the kind of rage that could, bubble up inside of me from all of that physical abuse. It made me a very protective person of my family and friends and loved ones. So thank God I never went into jail for assault or anything like that. But, I just didn't want to live like that. It was destroying me, spiritually, and it was destroying my heart and soul, You can't, where our bodies aren't designed to contain anger and bitterness and unforgiveness and rage and depression and anxiety. We're not meant to have that in us. We're supposed to be beings of love, peace, and joy and happiness and light. That's what we were designed for. So I finally, learned how to quit that addiction. It doesn't matter what addiction. Addiction is addiction. I don't care if it's donuts, sugar, beer, wine, or hard drugs or pharmaceutical drugs. Addiction is addiction. It's just a symptom of trauma, of things we haven't learned how to deal with, let go of. We haven't learned how to forgive, let go, and just deal with these things the right way. So we fall into these things. It doesn't matter if it's being a workaholic, sexaholic. It's just addiction is addiction. Is only a symptom of trauma and pain that we're not dealing with because we don't know how to deal with it. And when these things happen to us, we're usually very young, whether it be physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse. It doesn't matter what kind of trauma. When we're really young, we can't cope with it. We don't know how to deal with it. It just messes us up psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And then we become an adult and then we're all messed up. And it starts to really show up when we're adults because we stuff it down when we're kids because we can't cope with it. Sometimes we even block it out. We don't even know it happened until we're much older. And then it comes back, and it comes back with a vengeance. And now we're just a hot mess. And we wonder why our lives cannot work because we are so screwed up on the inside that we constantly self-sabotage and we make all the wrong decisions. Even when we get opportunities to make our lives better, we will absolutely screw it up every time until we heal on the inside, until we learn how to let go, which we cannot do till we learn how to forgive, which is very hard when people have, hurt you extremely as a child, when you're just an innocent little kid, somebody breaks you and turns you into a broken person or an angry person or a bitter person or a monster even. Some people become monsters from childhood trauma and abuse, right? And so I was taught through my amazing mentors, my coaches, my teachers, how to deal with it. And that's when my life started to really massively, change. It was about, I started smoking weed at like 22, and then right up till 42, I was smoking weed. That's just how I dealt with my life problems and my past, and I basically spent 20 years stoned. I didn't quite smoke just about as much as you, but a lot. I was probably smoking like an eighth a day, but some days I'm sure I smoked a quarter of an ounce of weed. It was a lot, and it was strong weed. I remember my friends would get knocked right out unconscious, and I'd still be smoking more. I mean, I had a very high tolerance just because of my metabolism, I'm sure, and how healthy I was with all the other areas of my life. But it's just no way to live. And I used to be so delusional that I thought that smoking weed was going to help me get closer to God and make me more spiritual, you know. And
I get
what a
it.
joke. It's pathetic. It's just so wrong. There's nothing enlightened about getting stoned. Nothing. And it wasn't until I totally got free of that, and I haven't touched it since that day, haven't craved it at all. That's when I really understood the real root cause of addiction and how to get free of addiction. And since then, I've helped tons of people with addiction, all kinds of addiction, every kind of addiction you can think of, and help them become free because I was taught how to become free. And you really can't help people achieve something you haven't achieved. You can study it, you can read all about it, you can go to school, but unless you've actually experienced it, you really don't know what you're talking about. You just believe you do, and you might be somewhat of a help to people, but you truly have to go through the trauma. You have to learn how to overcome addiction before you can actually help other people. I don't call myself an addict or I'm a recovering addict. You don't use that terminology. I'm completely free, healthy, and happy and living the life of my dreams. And it's because of my amazing mentors. I've had such brilliant teachers and mentors invest their time with me. I've hired the best coaches there are, from, the fitness to boxing to jiu-jitsu to aikido to, kickboxing, Muay Thai boxing, all the fitness stuff, how to strength train, how to power lift, how to bodybuild. And then I got trainers for holistic nutrition, then we had a trainer for, detoxification. I've had biochemists, herbologists, masters of nutrition, and then formulators of natural medicine. So I've just had these incredible people teach me what I know. That's the only reason why I know what I know. I didn't figure any of this out. I just had enough sense to know I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I needed to find the best experts I could find. Then I got business coaches, and I got people to teach me how to sell correctly so I could actually influence people to make better decisions and help them change their lives better. Because ultimately, today people think of as a salesperson as basically a con artist, where they just tell you what they want you to hear, and they'll say absolutely anything to manipulate you and get you to buy their stuff or hire them or whatever they're doing because they're just focused on money. But when you learn how to do sales the way I was taught, you literally operate as a problem solver, and you identify a person's problem, and then you help them understand what it is they need to understand so they can change their situation and they can get the services or the products they need to actually transform their life and eliminate their problems. And then in doing so, you literally help people improve their lives. Whether it be better supplements, better food, better water, better air, or the right type of coaching so they can grow and become the person they really want to be. That's all only possible if you actually learn how to, ethically and, honorably influence people. And that's done by asking all the right questions so you can lead people to a better understanding. You can lead people to an accurate conclusion of what is going to serve them better, and so they can become better. Ultimately, our lives are nothing more than the sum total of our choices. So by learning how to sell ethically with honor and integrity, you can lead people with a series of questions to a conclusion so they can identify the conclusion. And then it's just all about helping them overcome their fear of stepping out of that comfort zone, which is not a comfortable zone to be in. It's really a ridiculous name for it. It should be called the uncomfortable zone. So they can, get out of it. They can overcome their fear and they can move forward in their lives and they can start, experiencing a better life. And that's exactly what I did with you. That's what I do with all my clients. And once you start experiencing it, once you start to taste how good life can be, then you just crave it more and more and more, and it's really just all about getting people to feel way better as fast as humanly possible so you can get their hope to grow, and that leads them to a stronger belief in what's possible, and then it becomes something they begin to have some faith in just based on experience, the results, right? And then the results lead people to just get more and more engaged and more committed, more and more determined, and more, committed to it. And then, here you are, you're the proof, this works. It always works. I've never seen it fail to work. You help people become physically healthy and fit. They become a better decision maker, and they become a happier person. They have more energy and they start making better life choices. And once you accomplish that, now they have more questions. Now you can help them identify their true identity instead of this false identity they think they have of who they are. And that's just based on how they've been treated by family, friends, and society, or the world they're living in, or their nation, wherever they come from. But our true identity is very different than what we think or who we think we are. And once you help people figure that out, then they can start to develop an understanding of their purpose. And once they start to recognize their God-given gifts and talents and they start to develop them, they can begin to share that with the world, learn how to monetize those gifts and talents, and then they can become, self-employed, they can become an entrepreneur, and they can start living a purpose-filled life. And that's when life gets really, really awesome, where you just literally love waking up in the morning, can't wait to start your day. And work isn't even work now. It's just like a wonderful life you don't feel like you need a vacation from, because your life is so wonderful when you're doing what you love for a living. Now you're living the dream. And that's really what it's about.
Oh, so well said. I'm just agreeing with everything that you're saying because, well, one, I experienced it. But the biggest thing that I love so much and I value and respect about Elite Dynamic Life and the way that you help your clients is you feel results so fast. And I hear so many people being like, oh, I've been trying to get rid of this issue for 3, 6, a year now, and it's just like, it's not working. It's not working. It should never take that long. And if you're not feeling amazing results within the first week, it's not going to work. Yes, some things take a little bit longer, but you're always going to feel something fast. And the way that you have these personalized programs set up for everybody, everyone's different, so it is going to change, is you feel so good so fast. And then you add something else, and then that takes it to the next level. And then you add something else, but it's not all at once, it's not overwhelming, but you get such high results and such a high benefit. And then it just becomes a domino effect, and you feel so good, so you want more and you want more, and then you start unlocking so much within yourself, and
Yes.
then health and wealth go hand in hand. Like they just do.
Yeah.
It's what it is. You need money. You need money as a tool. We need money
Yeah.
to have good
Absolutely.
health. We need money to do everything in life. And your company is set up in a way where, okay, we're going to get you healthy, but we're also going to put money in your pocket as you do it so you can be free. Money
Yes.
stress is huge, huge,
Yes.
and stress deteriorates the body.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Our bodies aren't designed for containing stress at all.
no,
And it was
no.
really, the 32 years I've been in this industry as a health and fitness coach, and then I became a life coach about a decade ago, so I could help people have, long-term results, consistent results for life. because I discovered long ago that if I don't help them change their mindset completely, not long after I quit coaching them, holding their hand and leading them through workouts and how to eat and constantly speaking to them, their family and friends and their influences, or if life gets hard and they're going through some trial or tribulation, they'll revert back to their old bad habits, and then the next thing you know, they're right off track back to where they were, because it's their default setting. That's when I got into life coaching and to help people change their mental attitude, their perspective, their paradigm, and helping them on a conscious and subconscious level, so I could see a permanent change in their lives. Then it becomes way more fulfilling for me, because it was upsetting to see someone I helped lose 100 pounds. And then I don't see them for a couple of years and I see them, they're all fat again. I'm like, what in the heck is going on here? So I didn't want to see that happen anymore. So then I got into life coaching because I had gone through a lot of coaching myself to transform my life. And so I could get consistent results, life-changing results that are going to last a lifetime. And that's when it got way more fun, because I'm seeing a way bigger transformation in people's lives. And it's really simple. There is 6 areas to everybody's life. You are a spirit being. That's why we're called human beings. We're not called human souls. We're called human beings. We have a body, we have a mind, and we've been heavily programmed and conditioned from our lifetime experiences, from our environment. And most of our programming conditioning was completely accomplished by the time we're 5 or 6 years old. So now we have this very ingrained paradigm of what we think the life we live is all about, what our potential really is, what is possible, who we are, the way the world is. And usually it's very false, and it's not even connected to the reality. It's just our reality based on our own personal experiences. And so until you get exposed to new information, you can't change your paradigm. And then you just believe what you believe. And it's been proven long ago that thoughts are not just things. As a man thinketh, he becomes. It's not just a quote that's famous, it's a fact. And by teaching people how to change the way they think and change the way they speak, change what they drink and eat, make better decisions with relationships, put themselves in a better, healthier relationship, stop being attached to toxic people that are actually no good for them, a person can radically transform their life quite quickly. That's just what I know to be true. It's not something I believe in. I've seen it happen thousands upon thousands upon thousands of times with so many people, that my faith in what I do and what I know has never been stronger. Even just in just this month, you've witnessed me meet with many people because I brought you on many appointments. And because now I'm training you and teaching you to be a coach. And so you're sitting in on a ton of the meetings. So you see people walk in off the street. They've never met me before, and they tell me their life story, and I just sit there and listen, and I'm able to, discern what is going on inside of them. I'm able to give them some insight, some understanding, and then I tell them what we need to start with, which is always going to be get them properly hydrated at a cellular molecular level, so their body begins to function and feel better. And that happens very quickly. It only takes a few hours or a few days before there's a significant improvement in their cognitive function and how they're feeling energetically and how they're even sleeping, even their mood, as you've seen with all of these people. And then we, begin to improve their diet. And then we begin to give them, homework as far as how to start changing the way they think, more information, put some new information in their brain, give them some practical exercises to do that can make them feel way better, everything to make them feel better, because it wasn't the first cup of coffee that sold people on drinking coffee. Everybody thought it tasted like crap. That's why they put a bunch of sugar and cream in it. It was the feeling that coffee gave them. And for the majority of people, coffee is not going to be any good for them. It's not going to be a healthy thing, especially the way it's been pumped out today with toxic coffee and toxic water. So it's not even a healthy thing at all. But people are hooked on the feeling coffee gives them, to the point where now they love black coffee. But the first time they tried it was disgusting. The first time you had a shot of tequila, you're like, oh my God, that's disgusting. It's like tastes like alcohol, or like moonshine or something. It's so gross, right? But then you acquire a taste for it because you love the way it makes you feel, because you're numbing your pain. The
Yeah.
first time you The first time I drank some beer, and I've never had a problem with alcohol, but when I first had a beer, I thought it was disgusting. But if I was hanging out with the boys, by the time I had my third beer, now I've got a buzz and now it doesn't taste so bad. But the first beer was disgusting. And I thank God I never became a drinker. The first time I puffed on a joint, I was coughing my brains out and it tasted like crap. But then the feeling got me, right? And it doesn't matter if it's cocaine or it doesn't matter if it's, pharmaceutical drugs or whatever it might be, or Dunkin' Donuts, a milkshake at McDonald's or French fries, whatever. These things get us addicted because they give us a feeling, even though they're super bad for us. So if we can teach people how to get a wonderful feeling from doing something healthy, now we can win them over. And step by step, we can draw them into a completely radically different lifestyle, just one step at a time, incrementally. And that's how we're able to transform people's lives that would not normally be able to make such significant changes. It's just one little step at a time. And because that step is so rewarding, so beneficial, it makes them feel so much better. As you said, they want to do it more and more. That's how I started with you. With you, the first thing I did was I just simply re-educated you about water and hydration and explain the vast contrast between just drinking water and actually being hydrated at a cellular and molecular level. And that water is supposed to be good for you. It's not supposed to be just wet stuff that you drink because you're thirsty. It actually has a purpose. It's supposed to be an antioxidant. It's supposed to be rich in minerals. It's supposed to be alkalizing. It's supposed to help your body cleanse. It's supposed to help your body absorb nutrients. It's supposed to constantly flush toxins out of you so you feel good and it keeps your body functioning. It's critically important. It's always been the most essential nutrient. It always will. And in North America, North Americans haven't a clue what good water is. They just think they know because they've been sold every kind of water that you can think of, and it's all no good. Every bit of it's crap. It's all bad. Tap water, well water, bottled water, reverse osmosis, distilled water. Every single water that people think are good for them is not even going to hydrate them at a cellular molecular level. It's not doing any good to them. All it's doing is keeping them alive, but they will never experience thriving in their body while they're drinking all this dead, recycled, acidic water. Now, there's all kinds
I
of
want to
people
pause you.
want to debate me. Go for it. I'll debate anyone anytime about water. I've studied it for 30 years. I'm the healthiest man I know. Haven't been sick for 27 and a half years. My son has not been sick for 23 years. He's only 25. And when he turns 26 and very shortly, it'll be 24 years. We're celebrating him never having a cough, cold, sickness, a virus, a flu bug, nothing. I know health because I've dedicated my life to this. And you have to start with the right water. It's critical because your body's 75% water, period. It's 75% of the equation. And for everyone drinking dead, recycled water they've been sold on drinking, whether it be tap, bottled, or all the waters I mentioned, they are drinking garbage water. And then they're drinking products filled with garbage water. So that's 75% of their problem. They're not drinking the right water. They're not drinking the right beverages. Just changing that one thing with you radically changed your life in a week. I'll never forget. I saw, I can see this like it was yesterday. It was only, 3.5 years ago, roughly. And, I interviewed you after just 1 week and you were shocked. You were totally shocked how radically that one step changed your life.
When I thought my water was good, Ron, I remember we had
Of
this
course you did.
chat and I was
Because
on a
that's what they
well.
told you.
Well, yeah, and they're like, well, water is great. But then you told me, you're like, listen, when your body is 75% water and you need that to function, why are you so sick then? If you think it's so good, and that really made me think, you're like, why am I so sick? It does come down to water, and our water is so gross. You just recently shared this study with me where scientists, in People's Magazine, they were talking about 1 liter of water in a plastic water bottle. We are ingesting 200, like a 250,000 plastic particle pieces.
And they're
Our people are
nano
full of plastic.
size. We're
Yeah.
talking nanoparticles. They are so small, they will accumulate in all of your organs. They will go through the blood-brain barrier. You're essentially drinking plastic in a bottle. And then you got 25,000 proven chemicals, most of which are classified as forever chemicals, meaning they have a half shelf life of 1,000 years. They're causing major hormone imbalances in women, causing major PMS symptoms. They're causing menopause symptoms, hot flashes. They are messing up the hormones in women big time. And in men, they've lowered our male testosterone. Male testosterone has dropped 60% in the last 50 years. It's crazy what is going on just from plastics, just people drinking out of plastic bottles, their water and their beverages. And then you got all these men drinking out beer out of a can, aluminum can. It's a very acidic carbonated beverage. It's leaching aluminum from the can and they're drinking it. And people think they got something called brain fog. Like I've been around a while. I'm 56 years old. I remember what fog really is. It's this stuff you could see out the window or on the road when you were driving somewhere. That's fog. There's no fog that got in anyone's brain. It didn't sneak in their butt and become foggy in their head. It didn't get in their eyes and get into their brain. It didn't get into their ears. It didn't go up their nose. There's no such thing as brain fog. That is just a story. What's really going on is an enormous amount of chemicals and heavy metals have got through the blood-brain barrier in the human race, and now they have this story called brain fog. No, you are toxic. Your brain is 85% water, and your brain is 85% toxic water. So you will have what's called brain fog, but it's not brain fog. You just have toxicity in the brain. And then you have the fact that our food that people call food is not food. Our body has the last say on what food is. We don't get to dictate what food is to our bodies. Our bodies already have been programmed to recognize real food. And real food is organic, whole food, period. All this manufactured, man-made, genetically modified herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, insecticides, artificial color, flavors, dyes, preservatives, all of it is garbage. It is not food, it is death. And you can't drink dead water and eat dead fake food and expect to be healthy. If you do, you're being delusional. You are what you consume. They've told you you are what you eat, but that's very deceptive because you're 75% water. You are what you consume. Your body's 75% water, as I taught you, and the rest is what you eat and drink in the form of nutrients. And then you are what you think and you are what you speak because your thoughts and your words have been proven to actually affect the expression of your DNA moment to moment. If they can affect this expression of your DNA moment to moment, they can certainly affect your life. And we know that it's true. We know for a fact, it's a scientific fact, that people can worry themselves sick. So just being in a negative state of mind, just being someone who's in the trap of focusing on the problems instead of focusing on the solution, if you're focused on the past, if you're giving your attention to things you don't want, you are constantly in a state of suffering because you are creating your body's become a adrenaline cortisol factory. So you're just a toxic person, even if you drink and eat like a perfect person would. You're making yourself sick just with your mindset. And then if you talk about it all the time, which people love to do, they love to talk about their problems because they're just stuck in that loop of discussing their problems. And then they just give it more and more power. And it makes it worse and worse. They never get out of it. They just live in that cycle of misery because they're giving all their attention, they're giving all their personal power to the problem. You should only talk about your problem once with someone qualified to help you solve those problems. And then you need to decide what you really, really want. Then you make a plan to achieve those goals. And then you start going after those goals because it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what was. It matters what are you going to do now? What are you going to do starting today? Who do you want to become? And what do you want to accomplish in this life? Because there's only the now, as you know.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
until you learn how to develop peace of mind and you learn how to become present and stop being the victim of your mind, you stay stuck in the past. As you know, that's where you were. I was there too.
Living. there. Yes,
I was
it
living
was
in the
so bad.
past. I was living in the Matrix. You know, the movie The Matrix, the story you hear people refer to the Matrix, that is being the victim of your mind. You're not living in the real world. You're living in your mind, in your own pain and suffering. You become the victim of your own mind from your childhood programming and conditioning. And it's not until you get free from being the victim of your own mind, your own past, your own feelings, your false paradigm, your false, reality of who you think you have become. It doesn't matter who you become. It matters who are you going to become? Who do you want to be? Every one of us can learn how to forgive. Every one of us can learn how to let go. Every one of us can learn to live in the present. We can all learn how to drink better water. We can all learn how to eat better food. We can all be taught how to detoxify our bodies so we can get all the poisons out that we've accumulated in our bodies just living, breathing, drinking, and eating in this toxic, crazy world. And therefore, we can all become better. We can all make better decisions because we can learn how to make better decisions. We've been so heavily programmed. North Americans have been so heavily conditioned to believe in drinking the wrong water, to believe in eating all the wrong foods. Americans and Canadians have become the most unhealthy people in the world. There is more sickness and disease and suffering in America and Canada than any nation on the earth. In every other nation you can go to, they have an ancient culture where natural medicine and whole food eating is still quite normal. The only places where that's become less and less is how America has influenced these nations. But you go to China, you go to India, go to the Middle East, you go to the Philippines, you go to Europe, to some of these Scandinavian countries. They all have an ancient culture of natural medicine, whole foods, and intelligent thinking around drinking and eating. But in North America, we've been so indoctrinated and misdirected, misguided, misinformed that people don't think correctly about drinking and eating anymore, to the point where they'll spend their hard-earned money to poison themselves and their own children.
Doesn't even make sense. I watched an interview with you recently with Dr. Sterling Woods, and something that really stuck out to me is when he said, besides disease, digesting food is one of the hardest things on the body. So
Yes.
consumption and utilization is so important, and people don't even realize that. They're like, oh,
Yes.
just get nourishment in, and there's a whole side to that with dead food, alive food, how your body can break it down. If you have enzymes, probiotics, like it's all so important. And I had no idea about any of this before working with you. Majority of people don't. When you eat, you're not supposed to get tired. You're supposed to get energized. You're supposed to feel
Yes.
good. And everyone gets tired.
Yep.
They're not utilizing the food. Can you go a little bit
They
deeper
get
into
tired and
that?
bloated. Yes. So,
Yes.
you know, what I teach everybody is what I was taught. I was taught everything I know. I didn't figure any of this out. I'm not some genius that just woke up and discovered the solutions to life. I knew I didn't know what I was doing. I knew that the results that everybody around me was experiencing were not what I wanted. So I was looking for experts. And to me, an expert is someone who's achieved amazing results. If you haven't achieved amazing results, I don't see you as an expert. I don't care what your education is. I don't care what your PhD says. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm looking for people that have extraordinary success to show me. Now you got my attention. Now I want to know what you know, if it's something that interests me. So that's how it is. In this life, there's not a single champion boxer that did not get there because of great coaches and teachers and trainers. There's not a single amazing actor, actress, or singer or dancer, or even a businessman. Salesmen have sales trainer, you name it. So if you need a great coach and trainers and teachers to help you achieve massive success in one art or one sport, how are you going to figure out life when it's so much more complicated and confusing? And when we're living in a world in 2024 where about 99% of people are not happy, they're not healthy, they're not making the money they want, they're not living the life they really, really want. They're living a life of conformity and mediocrity because they don't know anything better. This is just what they know. They don't know anything else. And if they knew how to change their problems, they'd do it in a heartbeat. So why do they have all these problems? Everybody hates problems, right? So I started to recognize this as a young boy that, everybody around me was not happy, did not have the life they really, really wanted. They were just settling and compromising. And I just wasn't prepared to do that. I was just too strong-willed, and I never gave up on my dreams. So I started to find mentors and teachers, coaches that could teach me the things I didn't learn from my parents and didn't learn from school. And it all really radically changed when I was 28 years old and I met this brilliant doctor in biochemistry who started to teach me this very critically important principle. Nothing dead can support life. Nothing dead can support life. I could talk for hours about the contrast between living water and dead water. I could talk for hours about the contrast between living food and dead food and what that really, really means. And all you need to understand is your body is a bioelectrical living machine. It runs on electricity. It's hormonal. It requires hormones. It's biochemical and it's biomechanical. And if you don't know how to take care of your body, if you don't know the vast contrast between consumption and utilizing essential nutrients, and your body successfully eliminating all the toxins as they get into this body through breathing, drinking, and eating, then you actually are not qualified to drink and eat your way anywhere but sick. It's just that simple. So, that is just the facts. The laws of nature dictate what fish got to eat. The laws of nature dictate what cats got to eat, and dogs and bears and everything else, reptiles, birds in the air, right? So with human beings, what we're supposed to be eating is human food. In our modern world, they've processed and modified food so much that now our bodies don't even recognize it as food. And every single diet that's ever come out in my entire career, even before I got into this industry at 22 years old, a long time ago, I've not seen one correctly even begin to touch on the vast contrast between consuming food and utilizing the nutrients so they actually nourish your 60 trillion cells. And so there's a staggering difference between consuming things and being able to utilize those essential nutrients. And that's when a person really needs to get re-educated and understand the difference and understand how the digestive system works, how the elimination system works, what the liver is for, the kidneys, the lungs, the skin, all of it. You really got to have some basic fundamental understanding of your body and the purpose of eating and drinking, the purpose of water, the purpose of amino acids, essential fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, saccharides, phytochemicals. These things are essential. And just because you consumed a certain amount of calories with a certain amount of protein and fat and fiber and all of that, it doesn't mean nothing. Because if your body can't absorb those nutrients, if it can't assimilate those things, you're not actually feeding yourself. All you're doing is putting stuff in the tube. And we're all hollow. From our mouth to our butts that we're sitting on right now, we have a major tube. I'm a 6-foot guy, so I have a 6-foot large intestine. My small intestine is 18 feet. That is a very long tube. And above that is my stomach, and then above that's my esophagus. That's a lot of tubing. And then I have all my veins, arteries, and capillaries. Millions and millions and millions of miles of tubes. Scientists are saying that there's millions of miles of tubes just in our heart. I mean, we're full of tubes. Our lymphatic system is completely tubes. You might say you're totally tubular, Kristin. You're just full of tubes. Even your bones are tubes, right? It's quite amazing what's actually making up this body of ours, It's a bioelectrical, hormonal, biochemical, biomechanical machine that we're living in. It's a living body. And what we're supposed to put in it is not for us to dictate. That's just the law of nature. We can't defy gravity and get away with it. It don't matter if you're a good person or a bad person. You fall off the roof, you're 30 feet up and it's snowy and you fall, you're going to break your butt when you hit the floor if you land on concrete. Don't matter who you are, good person, bad person, doesn't, gravity don't care. And we have messed up the water. We've made such insanely toxic beverages that people have developed a taste for, an addiction to. We've made so much fake food, food that didn't even exist. If we had a time machine, we could go back in time and grab some people from 5,000 years ago, brought them into the future, and brought them to any restaurant anywhere. They'd be like, what in the hell is that? They'd be afraid to
Yeah.
touch it. They certainly wouldn't eat it. They'd think we're all nuts. Like, what are you people doing? But if we went back in time and saw what they're eating and actually participated and ate with them for a week, we would think we died and went to heaven because the food was extraordinarily clean, beneficial, and it was very, very utilizable because we hadn't screwed it all up yet. That's the bottom line. Nothing dead can support life. The majority of people on this planet are drinking dead water. They're taking in dead drugs, dead supplements, and they're eating dead food, and that will not allow you to thrive. And the majority of our population of the world has no idea what it feels like to live inside a body that's thriving, where your body's literally like a drug factory. Like earlier today, right? You came to me and you said you were feeling a little tired. Now you've been burning the candle at both ends. You're a single mom, 2 kids. You're super busy. You're working hard to help me. Then you're doing your own thing. Like you're a very busy girl and you're having fun, but you were a little tired. I said, okay, let's fix it. So I said, we're gonna turn your body back on. It's just getting tired. You're losing power. So we're gonna do something to make a difference. So I put you through 8 minutes of exercise, specifically designed just to turn your body on, get your hormones turned on, and just give you a big boost, essentially get you high, but all naturally. You're properly hydrated, you're eating perfectly, you're doing the right supplements, you're doing everything right. So I put you through 8 minutes of exercise. And what happened? Tell the world what happened.
8 minutes is all it took. And I got so much energy. The electricity in my body just started to flow. My mind became clear. My eyes got wider. My mind just started to focus. I felt so good and I wasn't tired anymore. I was ready just to start my day, got my blood pumping, and it's been continuous ever since then. Ron, I used to spend an hour at the gym, an hour to 2 hours, and I get more of a workout in these 8 to 10 minute sessions we do than an entire hour, and I am exhausted and I am seeing better results. Like my muscles are just strong. I feel so good. And the reality of our world is people don't work out because it's a time thing. I don't have the time.
They don't
We
have
just
time and they're
don't,
tired.
and they're tired, exactly, and they both go hand in hand.
Yeah. And we're
But
all busy people. There's if you're not
yeah,
busy, then your life sucks and your life's boring. But every one of us is typically busy, whether it be, achieving goals, raising our kids, whatever. So if you can spend 8 minutes or 10 minutes or 12 minutes doing something that's going to give you massive benefit and make you more energetic when you're already tired, it's going to cause you to crave more good water, more good food. That is a massive asset that a person needs to incorporate in their life. I mean, I wonder how many people out there in the world would actually invest regular time into exercise if they knew they could literally invest as little as 8 minutes and they feel like they did a 45-minute or an hour workout at the gym and got massive benefit. And they used very little of their biochemical resources from their body. So they didn't take much energy from their body to get a massive reward and be energetic and then crave healthy foods. I've never had a client work out with me ever that didn't tell me that was the best workout of their life, because that's what I pride myself in providing them with. And I've never had a client work out with me and then go crave beer, pop, Pop Tarts, and junk food. They always crave water and they always crave healthy food. Always. And then I'm teaching them what that is. So they go eat it, they go drink it. And then they just get better and better and better, like we're all supposed to be. If you
yeah,
if we went back in time to the 50s and 60s, we went to the beaches of America or Canada, you would hardly ever find an obese person anywhere. It was very, very rare. There was hardly any diabetes. There was hardly any cancer, hardly any heart disease. It was a radically different place. And there was hardly any people on antipsychotics and antidepressants. What has happened in our world in the last 50 years is absolutely tragic beyond words. It's horrific. And you now you go to the beach, you go to the mall, and it looks like humans were imported from planet fat. And I don't say that to be mean or rude. I'm being, very sincere about it. And I feel sorry for these people because I don't see a bunch of fat, obese people, although they look fat and obese. I see a bunch of people that have been duped by multi-billion-dollar corporations that hired the best marketing companies in the world to completely convince people to drink and eat products that are not even healthy, remotely good for them in any way, shape, or form. It's made billions upon billions, countless billions of dollars, and it's destroyed the life of Americans and Canadians. And it's horrific. And the amount of drugs, medicine, allopathic medicine, pharmaceutical drugs being consumed by Americans and Canadians is staggering. Canadians and Americans are using the most pharmaceutical drugs out of any population on the planet.
Just last year, Big Pharma, they made $1.27 trillion. That's just in 1 year. It's huge.
Oh, it's the biggest money-making business on the planet. So you have people that don't know better and they're drinking and eating, just trying to get their day finished and overcome their challenges, accomplish the day, finish their job, look after their kids, survive another week, another month in this crazy world. And so they don't know what they're doing. So they're just drinking and eating all the wrong things. Then they're becoming sick with diseases, and then they're going to the doctors, getting their pills, and that's just the cycle of life in North America. But you go
Yeah.
outside of North America, people take way less medicine. They eat and drink very differently. And everywhere America has influenced the world, there's way more poor drinking and eating and way more pharmaceutical consumption. It's not a
Yeah.
coincidence. It's just not a coincidence. And then I look at the Japanese who have the highest longevity in the world, and they have the least amount of disease. And I look at what they're doing, and what they're doing is very, very different than here, even to the point where their corporations are heavily involved in what their employees are drinking and eating because they understand that what we're drinking and eating is going to impact our cognitive function, our ability to produce results, and to, accomplish tasks and do a good job. So they won't even allow people to work for them without heavily being involved with their nutrition. It's quite amazing. And it makes a lot of sense to me. I have the same attitude. I wouldn't hire someone who eats junk food and drinks crap all the time and is super unhealthy and out of shape. It makes no sense because they're not going to be a great employee. Having an employee that is well hydrated and healthy, their body systems of elimination are functioning correctly, their digestive system's working right, and they're nourishing themselves well all day long, they work out, they're fit, they are going to be far more productive, far happier, and they're going to be an asset to your company as opposed to a burden.
Yes.
It's that simple.
And on a side note from this, putting everything that we talked about together,
Mhm.
the hydration, detoxification, utilization of nutrients, one thing that I've really noticed, besides completely having my health transform, ridding all my diseases, finding my purpose, falling in love with life, making a ton of money, I'm on my way to a six-figure year just from taking care of my health, which is huge. But I have reversed my biological clock. I am reversing my aging, Ron. And I know you've seen this because I've seen it in you.
Absolutely.
Like, let alone the 3.5 years that I have been working alongside you and watching you and learning from you, you look 10 to 12 years younger. In these last 3 years, I at least look at least 5 years younger. I cannot believe it. I don't want an age. I don't want to age. Who wants to age? I want to get better with age. And especially coming from the model background, I was freaking out turning 30. Nobody wants to age and look old. So knowing that I'm only going to get better with age because of everything that I have learned, everything that we've spoke about is very exciting to me.
Absolutely. That's something that really became a very serious interest of mine when I started hitting 50. When I hit 50, I didn't feel 20 anymore. And I thought to myself, this sucks. I don't want to get old. I was very healthy and fit and felt good, but I know there's got to be more to this. So I started to really start investigating anti-aging. And I started looking into the countries that are, way ahead of us, where they're living to like 120 plus years old without all the diseases of Americans and Canadians, where they look, 50-year-olds in Japan don't look like 50-year-olds in Canada, United States. They look
No.
way, way younger. And many nations like that, especially if you look into the blue zones, where people are living very commonly past 100, 120, and they're not sick with all the diseases that we're plagued by here. And as I started to really dig deeply into that, and also how to maintain healthy levels of testosterone naturally, it's had a substantial impact on my health because at 56, I feel better than I have at any age in my life. Of course, thank God I'm a lot wiser. I have a lot more experience, but physically, my bone density, my muscle density, my ability to perform and work out is the best it's ever been, which is really unusual. And in fact, it was only about 10 years ago that they deemed old age a disease. And I've been free of disease in my body for 27 and a half years. On my birthday this summer, will be 28 years, and I have no interest in catching disease either, called old age. We don't have to grow old. I mean, we're going to grow older. We're not going to live forever in these bodies, obviously, but we're not supposed to fall apart and become old. And for all you ladies out there listening right now, I got one question for you, ladies. Do you want to look like a raisin or a grape? You know, I got one
Right.
question for you, men. Do you want to have low testosterone so you feel depressed and you lose all your drive and ambition? That doesn't necessarily have to be your destiny. It's really a choice. And all of this TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and all the other steroids that people have decided is a good thing to do, I'm not buying any of that. That is short-term results, long-term huge issues. That stuff is toxic. Don't believe me? Go to drugs.com. Just go to drugs.com, people. Put any drug you want in there, and you will see a long list of very bad side effects. Not one of these things is going to make you live longer. They're going to give you a short-term result and long-term pain and suffering, and they will not extend your life. There's no such thing as an anti-aging drug. It's nonsense. Look up any of the anti-aging drugs they're telling you are anti-aging drugs, and look up the side effects of drug.com or any other reliable website, and you will find out what I'm telling you is true. Do your due diligence. Don't keep believing everything you've been told to believe, because somebody's telling you this because somebody's making money telling you this. It's always better to do it natural and to preserve your youth. Do it when you're young. If you found yourself old now, it's not too late. I've had clients in their 70s who at 70 years old, 71 years old, start building lean muscle mass naturally. We get their testosterone levels way back up where they should be, even at that age. They're losing fat. They're doing things they haven't done for 30 years with their bodies. They're pumping iron, doing squats and deadlifts and chin-ups, things they couldn't even think about doing when I met them because of their age and how far they'd gone backwards and losing their youth. And now they're training like a young person again. It's very doable. You just have to be willing to learn what you don't yet know. Start with the first step and the second step, and incrementally you can transform your life. You can have a way better quality life. You can live way, way longer than the status quo. And I just ask you all, what's that worth? If you don't have your health, what do you got? If you're not fit to enjoy your children and your grandchildren, what kind of a life are you living? Do you really want to end up a burden to your loved ones? Or do you want to live a very long, wonderful, happy, healthy, fit life and enjoy your family and your loved ones and what time you have left? And if you're a very successful person and you've been blessed and fortunate to make a lot of money, wouldn't you like to live a lot longer so you can enjoy the wealth that you've created? What's your life worth to you? What's time worth to you? How would you like to have more time on the earth? If you live an extra 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, because you eliminate all your diseases and you learn how to look after yourself correctly, what would that be worth? I don't think you can put a price on it, can you? It's
No.
priceless. It's priceless. And now we're living in a time where your average North American takes better care of their home. It's just a house. I don't care how nice it is. It's just a house. I don't care if it's a $500,000 house or a $50 million house. It's just a house. It's not really going to give you a better quality life. It's not going to help you live a better, longer life. We have people spending $150,000 on a Range Rover, $250,000 on a Porsche, or $500,000 on a Ferrari. That's not going to give you a better quality life. That's just going to make you have way more fun when you're driving. We are taking better care of our homes, our automobiles, our suits, our purses, our shoes, our pets than our own selves, our own bodies. It's insanity. Look at what marketing companies and multi-billion-dollar drinking beverage companies, water companies, supplement companies, drug companies have led us to become as people. Canadians and Americans are the most unhealthy, feeble, weak people on the planet compared to all of the other people, because of our lifestyle has become so unnatural, so far from being in harmony with the laws of nature. It's become a tragic story, but it doesn't have to remain that way. We can actually learn how to get all the toxins out of our bodies, eliminate all the nutritional deficiencies, and we can all become healthy people. We just have to make the decision. And you're living proof of that, Kristin.
I am. Yes, I am. It's a beautiful life. I'm really grateful.
It is a beautiful life, because when you're healthy and happy and you're living a purpose-filled life, life is the best it could ever be. What could be better than that? And then you can make money doing what you love. You know, that's why last year we created an affiliate program for our company so we could reward our clients for all the years, like 32 years in my career. I've had clients sending me clients. That's how it's always been. I don't advertise. And now with our affiliate program, we're taking regular people who become our clients. Then we just document their amazing testimonial through live blood morphology testing, to before and after pictures, to video interviews. And then we just put that on the internet for free, and it costs us nothing. And then regular people who run across these videos, like they're going to see clips of this video, and it's going to inspire people to reach out. They're going to buy into our products and services, and we're going to help more people. We're going to make more money, and we're going to reward the clients who attracted people to us based on their transformation. So essentially, you've become a model all over again. But now you're not
Yeah.
modeling weird clothes on the boardwalk and being told you're too fat, too tall, something's wrong with you. Now you're living a lifestyle of modeling what amazing, extraordinary, dynamic health looks like, what it feels like, what a healthy woman really is. And it's attracting people to us, and you're getting paid to be a representation of awesome health, happiness, peace of mind, joy, and living a purpose-filled life. And what could be better than that?
There's nothing. Absolutely
It's
not.
the best ever. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
imagine anyone could come up with a better story than this, because at the end of the day, here's the bottom line. Life, human life, is the most precious thing on the earth. And our time is the most precious commodity, the most valuable commodity. And if you're not enjoying the time you have on this earth left because you're unhealthy and unfit and depressed and tired and feeling broken or old, then your quality of time is not what you want it to be. And you can change that. And you can make it so good that you can actually reverse the damage that time and aging has had on you. You can reverse your biological clock 10, 20, 30 years, literally do that. We've done that with thousands of people. Then you can live a much better quality life, and you can live a longer life. And it's so simple to comprehend, because if being toxic and sick makes you die prematurely, then detoxifying your body, learning how to nourish it correctly, will give you a longer life, won't it? It's so simple. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. You just have to learn how to do it. And then you just have to commit to doing it. And you're going to need help doing it, because you don't know how to do it unless you know how to do it. There's what you know, you know. There's what you don't know, you don't know. And if you don't know, you don't know, then you got to come and learn so we can teach you how. So reach out to us today. Go to elitedynamiclife.com, click on the results page, check out the tons of awesome results of our clients, fill out an evaluation form so we can look at your life situation and what you're going through. And then we can discuss having a meeting with you, me and my team. And if you look like a potential client for us, someone we want to help, then we'll reach out to you. We'll give you a consultation, and we'll give you some advice, and we'll make your life start getting better today. EliteDynamicLife.com. Check us out. We look forward to meeting you anywhere, wherever you are. We have clients all over the world, and we're having the time of our lives helping people just like you. Peace, everybody. Have a blessed day.